After I started baking pixel shaders into textures, I started to wonder would it be possible to bake a displacement into a normal map? So let's find out. So I've got a source cube here, and I'm going to apply a couple of modifiers to it. I'm going to apply a subdivide surface and set it to simple. And we're going to subdivide it by about, let's say, eight times. Go to advance. I'm going to kill the limit surface so that will give me that number of subdivisions. And then I'll apply a deformant. I'm going to choose displace, which as you can see took effect right away, and you can always go in and tweak your mid level to adjust its influence. Creating texture under there. So new, creates a new texture. I'm going to set that to use coordinates based on the UVs of my cube. By default, the UVs over your cube should be laid out flat. If you're working with any other type of surface, best to flatten out your UVs and lay them out properly before you do this. And I'll adjust my level, get my corners sharpened properly. Okay, and so now I choose my texture. So I'll get into texturing, and I'm going to open a texture from my archive of downloaded free textures. Let's see. Let's choose something simple. I'll choose a brick pattern. And we'll stick here. We'll choose brick and we'll choose the height. That's what we need for displacement. Okay, and I'll go into my brick pattern and I will set the repeat under mapping just to increase the density. I'll make it, let's say, 3 times the number. And that should be fine. Come back to my modifier settings and then play around with the strength a little bit just to make things a little more interesting visually. Okay, so just making a bit deeper there. Play around with the strength here. Okay. So as you can see, the pattern looks slightly pixelated, which probably means I could increase the density of the mesh a bit more just by increasing my subdivision levels. So we can try to sharpen these things up a bit. Okay, so it's a little cleaner. It's going to be a bit heavier for this. Make sure that you increase your render value to match your viewport render value, or else that could negatively impact the results. And okay, so that should be it. Nice and clean. So I'm going to create another cube. Scale it up to make it just a bit bigger than my original cube. Lock in the scale. And I'm going to call this my target cube. Okay. So now once you have your 2 cubes, you need to do a couple other things. On your target cube, you need to create a new material. So I'm going to bring up my shader editor. Go over to my shader in the properties, tell it to create a new material. Lag there, not sure where that came from. So I've got my material. And under material in the shader editor, I'm going to add a texture to that one. Just an image texture, just going to drop it right next to it. And I'm also going to add a vector normal map, drop that in there. Feed the color from the texture to the color on the normal map. And the normal map to the normals on the material. I'm going to create a new texture under there. I'm going to call it my NM for my normal map. And I'll set that to be a 2K texture. And I'm going to make sure that I set it for a 32-bit float. And new image. And that should be everything we need. So now I just have to select my source, select my target, go to my render settings, set my render engines to cycles, device, GPU, if you have the option. And then under render samples, you want to drop that down to around, let's say, 16. Make sure disable denoise. And then scroll down to bake. And then under bake, set bake type to normal. Beneath that, activate selected active, select it to active, should I say. And then set your extrusion amount to around 0.1 is usually enough. Once that's done, you should be able to bake. And then just press bake. We'll wait for the result. It's baking, baking, baking. It's a bit heavy. Let's switch it to this mode. Okay, and so you can actually see that we've baked how to know that. And it's assigned to our simple cube. Okay, once you have baked out your normal map, switch to texture mode, go to image, and choose save as, and specify a location to save your newly baked texture. And I'd suggest saving it in the same place where you have your model, and you're done.